Hi, welcome to Coffee with Carmelo. My name is Siobhan Gonzalez. I'm the business developer here at United Professional Engineering, and you are in for a treat today. So, my board members and property managers, you're going to want to sit in on this one. So, our president and owner, Carmelo Giulio, is going to tell us, Carmelo, when do the boards, the managers, the associations, when is it necessary for them to call an engineer? When do they need an engineer in their association?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. Um, I think it's layered because the new recertification laws bring something new to the table. But the question reminds me, when I was some years back when I was, I guess a little more inexperienced. You know, what happens is a client will call you to the site and they'll see spalling of some type on their building. And that's usually when the call to us gets triggered. Doesn't mean that, so the timing of it's basically based on what they are seeing. So what happens, like this, again, they'll see maybe an edge spall or cracking that they want fixed. And they'll say, we would like to fix this repair. And so the question's kind of loaded because what happens is I get into another conversation with them on when was the building last repaired. We start talking about repair cycles, et cetera, because what's challenging with multi-story buildings here in Florida and really anywhere is the access. So, in one project in particular, there was a parapet damage that was inaccessible. It was basically on a shear wall. So the only way to get to the area was to hang swings. Now that costed money, thousands of dollars. And so there was a parapet repair in one area and a parapet repair in another area, and a few different areas scattered around where you have to hang swings in all these areas. And, so what the conversation basically led to was, when did you last do a major repair project? And is it most cost effective to do just these spot repairs, or should we consider doing a full repair project at this time? In this particular building, they hadn't done a major repair in, I think it was 10 to 15 years. So that's a long time for a building on the ocean. This was a building on the ocean. And, corrosion usually starts around 5 years after repair and, gets worse with time. So when should the engineer, when or why do we get called in? It's usually a repair shows up, and then we have a discussion about what type of project is it? Is it a small patch repair, or are you better suited to a major, a full building restoration project at that time? With the new recertification laws, it's kind of gotten different. I mean, Broward and Miami-Dade have had the recertification program for years. Palm Beach County has it, and everywhere else in the state too. So it's kind of new for some folks. And down in Miami, you're supposed to be getting recertified every 10 years with the existing, the 40-year recertification law. So that comes into play too, is the recertification process. Where are they with that? When was their last recertification, et cetera? So it's kind of a multifaceted question, but I think when people call us in to do repairs, it's just like a spot repair. That can lead to more stuff. Most likely, they need more than just a little patch repair. And when I get hired, I've learned many years ago, it's best to time your repairs around your paint cycles. And I could talk more about this in another sit down because that's a whole nother conversation, and which I was involved in the Surfside Working Group, and so one of the things we recommended at that time was the cycles. What's the timing of the milestone inspection, and what should the cycle be? And the cycle is based on how long, what are the cycle times for your big projects. And at that time, I recommended at that time and today as well, 2 paint cycles, meaning about 14 years. So you do a major project over 14 years and maybe a smaller project every 7, but I don't want to get too far off on a tangent because it rolls into cycles for recertifications, et cetera. But did I answer your question?
Wow, what a question. And so
one question leads to the next, right?
it leads to the next. And
Right.
so what we want to know is what questions you have at your association. And I believe that this really shows the value of having a reputable engineer in your back pocket. So we are here. We're that resource for you. Reach out to us directly if you have any questions on when to call an engineer. Of course, call Carmelo, and we'll see you at the next Coffee with Carmelo.